We got to start back at the beginning, the Little D Fish. Tell me about your hometown, the town you grew up in a little bit.
Oh man, Little Rock, Arkansas. Little Rock, Arkansas. Man, I mean,
Take me back.
take you back. I mean, from family, my grandmother's house, and my mom's mom, she grew up in Sweet Home, Arkansas, which is like a little small, like, the dirt road thing right outside of Little Rock. And we went there weekly, Sundays after church, and had big meals and like, serious like family time. And so from that to, Pinnock Boys Club, where I played my first organized basketball game at the age of 6. Wow, to so many different things. I mean, my entire life, I went to college there, so literally from the time I was born to the age of 21, who I am is all in that city.
Who was the biggest influence at that part in your life? Who was big time?
I really have to say my dad. My dad was just the man. He worked hard. He was my coach in like some of my different teams that I played for. So we had that kind of dad, coach, fun friend thing kind of going on.
Let's talk sports. Obviously, you were talking about the boys club and how you got your first organized basketball. Were you involved with all kinds of sports? Was it just kind of basketball your first, or what were your other loves?
Basketball was the first.
Well, your brother had a lot of influence on that, didn't he?
My brother, I grew up mopping the floors and keeping up with him. When he was in high school, we went to the same high school. My brother, myself, and my sister, we all went through the same high school. So watching him play and sweeping the floors and the ball boy thing and all that was very influential. So I first started playing basketball organized, and then from there just grew into the love of sports. I played a little bit of soccer, I played some baseball, I played some football. I actually played 6 years of band. I played the trumpet for 6 years. So I just did a little bit of everything, and it wasn't really until high school that I just kind of decided I'm just going to stick with basketball and see where that might take me.
Were you good? Did you know you were good? Were you head and shoulders above the other kids? What were you like? Did you know?
I was good, but I wasn't great.
Yeah.
I was probably, I played on some very talented teams for that part of the country, but there would be 5 or 6 other guys on the team that were like more talented or had bigger kind of notoriety than I did. I was like the last guy that you would ever think would be sitting here telling my story about how I made it here.
Let's get to Arkansas Little Rock.
Yeah.
So you went there.
Yeah.
What were your hopes? What were your goals at that point? What were you thinking?
My goal at that point when I got this scholarship to go to Arkansas Little Rock was take this opportunity to get a great education. You get a college degree, you'll play 4 years of college basketball. Hopefully you decent enough player where, people in the community will want to kind of get to know you and hang around you and basically, shake enough hands to get a great job after I'm done.
You're figuring your life is going to be in Little Rock, Arkansas for your entire life, and you're going to become a businessman somewhere.
That was my goal at that point, was to truly, what I think the NCAA thinks that everybody's thinking is like, okay, use this opportunity to, spend 4 years and develop yourself and then, go be a great business person after you're done with athletics. And that was really my goal. I was going to be an accountant. That was my thing.
You're the poster child for the NCAA then.
Yeah.
But it didn't quite turn out that way.
No.
Let's fast forward. All right, now you're a senior.
Yeah.
All right, you're playing. Scouts coming around. You getting kind of a feel that maybe you could take it to the next level. What was your first inkling on that one?
It happened the summer before my sophomore season. My older brother, who spent some time in the NBA and CBA and overseas, he was down in Houston, Texas in the summer. John Lucas was running a big summer workout thing.
Another lefty, by the way.
Yeah, a lot of NBA guys used to go down there and work out. So one summer, my brother invites me down to hang out with him in Houston for a week. So I go down and I'm working out with, he and all these other NBA guys, and I'm actually holding my own, doing pretty good. So John Lucas comes over, he's like, hey, pretty good player, how many more years of school do you have left? I said 3. And he said, man, if you keep working hard, that may be 2. And it was like the light went on at that point, like, okay, I might be able to do this a little bit. Sophomore season was so-so. We had a coaching change. Coach goes out, Wimp Sanderson comes in. Big-time coach from University of Alabama. Coach Robert Horry, Latrell Sprewell, Derek McKee, James Robinson, and on and on and on. He comes in, we started playing this whole different style of basketball. He's got like 10 guys in the NBA. So now NBA scouts kind of started coming around. And I had a great junior year and senior year. We won 20 plus games, you know, went to the NIT, and just an amazing ride.
All right, now, Los Angeles. Here's a kid, Little Rock, you're Arkansas, you're coming to the glitz, you're coming to the glamour. Just the transition to the lifestyle. How was that for you? Did you take to it right away? Were you a little was it the Beverly Hillbillies kind of a thing? I mean, how was it for you?
Yeah, no, I think it took a while to become comfortable with basically being known, or, you know, I didn't consider myself a celebrity, but it took a while to get used to the fact that people were aware of what I did, who I was, you know, that people were really appreciating the way I played and what I was doing out there on the floor.
That entire championship run, just kind of talk a little bit, expand a little bit about the chemistry on and off the court of that group of fellas who will forever, forever be remembered in Los Angeles. You know, Shaq and Kobe, the ringleaders there, but just what made that group so special on and off the court?
I think on and off the court for that group, there was a high level of respect that was there in that locker room and on the bus and on the plane that I don't know if any other group will ever be able to duplicate. When you think about the guys that were on the team from the first year Phil came in, the first year we won a title, from A.C. Green and John Sally, Ron Harper, myself, Rick Fox, Robert Horry. There were, like, you talk about professionalism. I mean, here was A.C. Green, who epitomized professionalism by being the guy that comes to work every day, never misses a game. So we had example after example after example of not only how to be professional and be like great people and great men, but we had guys that knew how to play the game and play at a high level. And so I think through that entire run, even though we had the Shaq and Kobe stuff and the Phil stuff and all these different like dynamics going on, that was just a certain thing that would happen when we would walk in that locker room. I could look at Rick and Rick could look at me, and we could look all around that locker room and know, okay, he's bringing it today.
You know, without bringing anything else new to light because it's gone over, you know, you mentioned the Shaq and the Kobe and this and that. There was soap opera times.
Yeah.
How did you personally deal with that? And did you really think that that affected the ball club at that time?
You know, with the soap opera stuff, I think it was difficult because I had never experienced anything like that before. But at the same time, I think because I wasn't on the outside, because I'm on the team, I'm in it, but the focus was not necessarily on Derek Fisher or other members of the team. A lot of the pressure and the negativity was focused solely around them. So it really kind of allowed me personally to be able to kind of be in the mix, but then step back and say, okay, what do I really think about this? How do I really feel?
We need to know, or I want to know, was it as bad as it was portrayed to be, or was it worse, or was it not as bad as it was? And I'm talking about the dynamics.
It was nowhere remotely close to as bad as people thought it was, based on media reports. And I think still people think that, you know, if Kobe was on this side of the locker room and Shaq was on this side, you know, you had to put up this big curtain, and, you know, the guys on this side of the locker room couldn't talk to these guys, and, you know, they couldn't walk by each other on the plane, and Shaq had a different locker room and Kobe, and I mean, it was nowhere near that stuff. I mean, it was so much fun. I mean, anybody that's been around Shaq knows how much fun it is to be around him, and that it was like that all the time. It seemed that the only time there were differences was went publicly, because as far as in the locker room and on the plane and at the hotel and on the bus, and everybody was cool. I mean, and maybe because we were winning, you know, it made it easier to be that way.